Kai wiped the sweat from his forehead as he worked on the engine of a hovering cargo shuttle. The sun was bright over the settlement, reflecting off the metallic surfaces of the workshop and the scattered machines. Kai had grown used to this life. He fixed engines, repaired droids, and solved mechanical problems that no one else could. Yet, he never imagined that today, his world would change forever. A loud rumble shook the ground. Kai looked up, his hands still greasy from the engine work. In the sky above, a massive shadow moved. At first, he thought it was one of the large transport ships used for trade, but it moved differently. There was no hum of engines, only the sound of strong wings cutting through the air. The villagers stopped their work and looked up. Their eyes widened in fear and awe. From the horizon, a dragon appeared, larger than any Kai had ever heard described in legends. Its scales shimmered in blue, green, and gold. The sunlight bounced off them, creating flashes of color that dazzled anyone watching. Its wings were huge, each flap creating a gust of wind that knocked over crates and small tools. Kai stepped back, unsure what to do. The dragon landed near the settlement with surprising grace for its size. The ground shook with the force of its landing, and dust rose into the air. People scattered, finding cover behind buildings or retreating to their homes. Kai, however, stood frozen, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and curiosity. The dragon's head lowered. Its eyes, large and intelligent, scanned the workshop where Kai stood. Kai felt a strange connection, as if the dragon were looking directly into his mind. He could sense the creature's power and wisdom. Then, to his shock, the dragon reached one of its massive claws toward him. But it was not a threat. Nestled in the claw was a small dragon hatchling. Its scales were still soft, and its wings were tiny and underdeveloped. The hatchling opened its mouth in a high-pitched squeak, and the dragon mother nudged it gently toward Kai. Kai blinked. He had seen dragons in holovids, in stories, and in legends, but never in real life. And never had he imagined being entrusted with one of their young. Fear gripped him, but he could see the seriousness in the dragon mother's eyes. This was not a mistake. She was trusting him. A crowd of villagers gathered, whispering to each other. "Is he crazy?" "That's a dragon," one man said. "Why would it trust a human?" another asked. Kai could feel their judgment and their fear, but he had no time to think about them. He had to act. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. I'll take care of it," he said, his voice steady despite the tremor in his chest. The dragon mother lowered her head closer, and Kai carefully reached out his hands. The hatchling wriggled, trying to bite, but Kai stayed calm. Slowly, he lifted it into his arms. The hatchling's tiny claws pressed against his arms, and its tail thrashed. Kai could feel its heartbeat fast, wild, and full of life. He held it gently, careful not to hurt it, but strong enough to make it feel safe. The dragon mother observed him, her eyes never leaving his face. Kai carried the hatchling into his workshop, making sure the doors were closed to keep the wind from knocking anything over. The villagers followed at a safe distance, still in awe and fear. Kai set the hatchling down on a soft mat he had prepared for small machines and droids. He realized that this mat would have to serve a new purpose, a place for a dragon to rest. The hatchling hissed and bared its tiny teeth. It tried to crawl away, but Kai gently lifted it and spoke softly. "It's okay. You're safe here. I won't hurt you." His words had no magical effect, but he noticed that the hatchling paused, listening, its eyes watching him carefully. Kai looked around the workshop. He had tools, machines, and spare parts, but he had never prepared for a creature like this. He would need food, warmth, and a safe place for it to grow. But as he looked at the small dragon, a sense of purpose filled him. This was a challenge unlike anything he had faced before. The dragon mother did not leave immediately. She circled the workshop, her wings stretching wide, and then landed again, watching Kai work. Every so often, she nudged the hatchling with her snout, reminding it of her presence. Kai realized that she was not just testing the hatchling. She was testing him. Kai spent the rest of the day learning about the hatchling. He noticed that it reacted to his movements and voice. If he moved too fast, it would hiss. If he spoke softly, it would stop struggling for a moment. He began to understand that trust would take time. The hatchling was not wild because it was dangerous, it was wild because it had to survive. As evening approached, Kai built a small enclosure for the hatchling. He used soft padding and reinforced metal bars, making sure it was safe but comfortable. The hatchling tried to climb the walls but eventually curled up, tired from the day's excitement. Kai sat nearby, watching over it as he cleaned his tools. The villagers left one by one, unsure of what to make of the strange events. Kai remained, feeling a strange bond with the hatchling. He knew that this was just the beginning. The dragon mother would return, and the hatchling would grow. He would need to learn more about dragons, their habits, and their needs. But for now, he had a small creature that depended on him completely. As night fell, Kai looked at the hatchling and smiled. "I'll take care of you," he whispered. "No matter what it takes." He did not yet understand the full responsibility he had been given, but he felt ready. For the first time, he realized that being a mechanic was not just about fixing machines. Today, he had become a protector of something incredible, something the galaxy had never seen before: a human trusted by a dragon. The next morning, Kai awoke early, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The hatchling was already awake, pacing in its enclosure, tiny claws clicking against the soft padding. Its wings flapped erratically, and it hissed every time Kai approached. Kai took a deep breath and reminded himself that patience would be the key. This was not a machine he could repair with tools or programming. This was a living being with instincts and emotions. He knelt beside the enclosure, holding out his hand slowly. The hatchling froze, watching him with bright, golden eyes. "Good morning," Kai said softly. "I won't hurt you." The hatchling hissed again but made no move to escape. Kai remembered a lesson from the old holovids about dragon behavior: they respond to sound, rhythm, and calm movements. He took a small metal rod and tapped it gently on the floor, creating a steady rhythm. The hatchling tilted its head, curious. Kai tapped again, slightly faster. The hatchling chirped, a sound almost like laughter, and hopped forward cautiously. Kai smiled. He realized that the hatchling responded to predictable patterns. Sudden movements made it nervous, but calm, repeated actions made it curious. He spent the next hour tapping and moving in simple, slow patterns, learning what calmed it and what made it nervous. By midday, Kai had earned a small measure of trust. The hatchling allowed him to stroke its back carefully, though it still hissed when he touched its wings. He spoke to it in soft tones, repeating the same words over and over. "Safe. Kai will protect you. Food soon." The hatchling seemed to recognize the sound of his voice. It stopped struggling for a moment and listened. Next came the challenge of feeding. Kai had researched what dragon hatchlings might eat, combining knowledge from old records and speculation. He prepared a mixture of protein-rich gels and small chunks of meat, warmed carefully. The hatchling sniffed the food, then snapped at it with its tiny teeth. It recoiled, then hesitated. Kai held his hand near the food and spoke calmly. Slowly, the hatchling took a small bite from his fingers. Kai smiled. "You're learning," he said. "Good job." The hatchling chirped again, almost in response. Kai could see sparks of intelligence in its eyes. This was no ordinary creature. It observed, remembered, and tested him constantly. He realized that if he wanted it to survive, he had to understand its mind, not just its body. Afternoon brought a new challenge. The hatchling began to climb the walls of the enclosure, its claws scratching the soft padding and its tiny tail thrashing. Kai tried to pick it up gently, but it hissed and lashed out, biting his gloves. He realized that it was not acting aggressively out of anger. It was testing him. It wanted to see if he could handle its strength and respect its instincts. Kai took a step back and studied the hatchling's behavior. "You need to feel safe before you listen," he said. "You need control, and you need trust." He spent the next few hours observing, moving slowly, and letting the hatchling explore under his careful watch. Every hiss, every hop, every tiny flap of its wings gave him clues. He began to notice that the hatchling responded not just to words, but to vibrations. A gentle tap on the floor or a soft hum from his throat calmed it. A sudden movement made it panic. Kai decided to try a new method. He tapped a rhythm on a metal surface, soft and steady, then hummed in harmony with the taps. The hatchling froze, its small head tilting as it listened. Then, slowly, it crept toward him. Kai held out his hand. The hatchling sniffed it, then nudged it gently with its snout. Kai barely moved, letting the hatchling take the lead. After a few minutes, the hatchling leaned against his arm, closing its eyes briefly. Kai's heart raced. It was the first real sign of trust. He whispered, "I won't hurt you. I promise." The dragon mother returned in the late afternoon. She landed at a distance, her massive wings folding gracefully. Kai noticed that she did not approach him, but her gaze followed every move he made. The hatchling chirped at the sight of her and tried to crawl toward the door. Kai gently guided it back, speaking softly. The dragon mother seemed to approve. Kai realized something important: the mother was not only testing him, she was teaching the hatchling through observation. The hatchling's wild nature was not a problem, it was a sign of strength and intelligence. If Kai could earn its trust, he could guide it safely through the dangers of the world. Evening came, and Kai prepared a small bath for the hatchling. Its tiny body was covered in dust and grease from the workshop. At first, it protested, flailing and squeaking. Kai spoke in gentle tones and held it steady. Slowly, it relaxed, allowing him to clean its scales. He noticed how soft and warm its skin was under the rough exterior. The creature was alive with energy, with instinct, with life that demanded respect. By the time the sun set, the hatchling had eaten, rested, and accepted Kai's presence for short moments at a time. Kai sat back and sighed, exhausted but happy. He knew this was only the beginning. There would be more tests, more challenges, and more lessons to learn. But he also knew that he had made the first breakthrough. The hatchling was beginning to understand him, and he was beginning to understand it. Kai looked toward the sky, where the dragon mother rested on a nearby ridge. She watched silently, a figure of power and grace. Kai felt a strange sense of pride. No human had ever been trusted in this way, yet here he was, chosen to protect and guide one of the galaxy's most incredible creatures. He whispered to the hatchling, who was now curled up near his lap, "Tomorrow, we will try something new. You will see the world a little differently. But I will be with you, always." The hatchling chirped softly, as if in agreement. Kai understood that trust was not given, it was earned. And today, the first steps had been taken. He had begun to form a bond with a creature that could have destroyed him with a single swipe of its claws. Instead, it allowed him to hold it, to care for it, and to guide it. He had earned its curiosity, and that was the first sign of hope. As night fell, the workshop quieted. The stars twinkled above, reflecting the glow of the settlement lights. Kai watched over the hatchling as it slept fitfully, dreaming of wings and skies it had never truly flown. He knew that one day, this small dragon would soar above the mountains and forests, strong and free. And he would be there to guide it, protect it, and prove that humanity's courage and intelligence could earn the trust of even the wildest creatures. Kai leaned back, tired but determined. The hatchling stirred, nudged his arm, and chirped again. Kai smiled. This was only the beginning of their journey. Kai woke early again, the sun just beginning to rise over the distant mountains. The hatchling stirred in its enclosure, its small wings flapping as if impatient. Today, Kai had decided, they would begin a new kind of training. The hatchling was strong, curious, and fearless in its own way, but it had never flown. Kai had to help it learn. He prepared a small open area behind his workshop, clearing debris and setting up soft mats and cushions. He also assembled a lightweight anti-gravity platform he had designed to support the hatchling during its first flights. It hovered slightly above the ground, creating a safe space where the young dragon could experiment with its wings without danger. The hatchling chirped eagerly, hopping from one claw to the other. Kai knelt down, holding it carefully in his arms. "It's time," he said softly. "We will try flying today. I will be with you. I promise." The hatchling's golden eyes followed his every movement. It seemed to understand, though it still wriggled nervously. Kai placed the hatchling gently on the platform. The anti-gravity field lifted it slightly, allowing it to hover. The hatchling's wings flapped instinctively, but it had no control. It wobbled in the air, almost tipping over. Kai steadied it with his hands, letting it feel the safety of support. "Feel the lift," Kai said. "Trust it. Trust yourself." The hatchling chirped, trying again. This time, it managed a small glide before losing balance. It fell slightly, but Kai caught it just in time. His heart raced, but he stayed calm, knowing that panic would only make the hatchling more fearful. He gently placed it back on the platform. "Again," he said, softly. "We can do this together." Hours passed as Kai guided the hatchling through small movements. Each time, it flapped its wings, lifted, and wobbled. Each time, Kai caught it, steadying it with careful hands. The hatchling began to trust him more, its struggles becoming less frantic and more controlled. It started experimenting with tiny turns and dips, learning how to balance in the air. At one point, the hatchling flew too far to the edge of the platform. Kai's reflexes were fast, and he darted forward, catching it midair. The hatchling squeaked in surprise but did not struggle. It realized that Kai was there, always ready to protect it. Kai smiled. This was more than training, this was trust in action. The villagers, who had been watching from a distance, murmured in amazement. Humans had never interacted so closely with a dragon hatchling. They saw Kai's courage, patience, and intelligence. It was not brute strength that made him special, it was his ability to understand and adapt to a creature unlike any other. By afternoon, the hatchling had managed to glide across the platform without falling. Its tiny wings flapped faster, and its eyes shone with excitement. Kai clapped his hands softly, proud. "You're doing it," he said. The hatchling chirped in response, almost like a laugh. Kai decided it was time to take the training a step further. He moved the anti-gravity platform a little higher and adjusted the field so the hatchling would need to flap more to stay in the air. The hatchling hesitated, its wings trembling. Kai knelt beside it. "I am here," he whispered. "You can do it. I won't let you fall." The hatchling took a deep breath, or at least, Kai imagined it did, and flapped its wings with all its strength. It lifted higher, wobbling but maintaining balance. Kai held his hands beneath it, ready to catch it if it faltered. The villagers gasped, watching a human guide a dragon through its first flight. After several attempts, the hatchling began to fly more confidently. It made small arcs, dips, and turns, its body moving more naturally. Kai allowed it moments of independence, stepping back while still monitoring closely. The hatchling chirped happily, enjoying the sensation of air beneath its wings. The dragon mother returned in the late afternoon. She landed gracefully near the training area, her eyes fixed on Kai and the hatchling. Kai noticed that the hatchling's ears perked up at her presence. It tried to fly toward her, but Kai held out his hands, gently guiding it back. The dragon mother did not intervene, but her eyes showed approval. She seemed to recognize Kai's skill and patience. Kai spent the next hour encouraging small flights toward him and then away, always making sure the hatchling felt safe. He observed how it responded to direction, reward, and gentle guidance. Each successful flight strengthened the bond between them. The hatchling trusted him not just as a protector but as a teacher and companion. As the sun began to set, Kai decided to end the day's training. The hatchling was exhausted but happy, resting on a soft mat near his feet. Kai spoke softly, praising it for its courage and effort. "You did amazing today," he said. "Tomorrow, we will go a little higher. We will reach the skies together." The hatchling chirped softly in response, nestling closer. Kai cleaned the platform and prepared food for the hatchling. As it ate, he looked toward the dragon mother, who had perched on a nearby ridge. She observed silently, her massive form calm and regal. Kai realized that the mother had not needed to intervene because he had earned her trust, and the hatchling had begun to trust him fully. That night, Kai sat by the hatchling as it slept, tiny wings folded against its body. He thought about the day's progress and what lay ahead. Flying was only the beginning. There would be challenges, dangers, and lessons that neither he nor the hatchling could predict. Yet, he felt ready. Together, they were forming a bond that could face anything. Kai whispered softly, "Tomorrow, we will fly farther. We will soar higher. But always remember, I am with you." The hatchling stirred slightly, as if understanding. Kai smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride and hope. The first flight had been successful, and it marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey. He looked at the night sky, stars twinkling above, and imagined the hatchling growing strong enough to soar across mountains, forests, and oceans. One day, it would be free and powerful, but for now, it had him. And he would guide it with courage, patience, and unwavering determination. Kai knew that humanity had the ability to earn trust, to nurture life, and to achieve the impossible. Today, he had proven it. The hatchling had flown because a human believed in it, understood it, and respected it. And this, Kai realized, was only the beginning. The morning sky was clear and bright, and Kai felt a sense of accomplishment. The hatchling had flown several short distances yesterday and was showing more confidence with each flap of its wings. Kai was preparing breakfast for the creature when a distant sound caught his attention, a low, mechanical hum, growing steadily louder. Kai looked toward the horizon and saw several strange ships approaching. Their sleek, angular forms glinted in the sunlight, and bright searchlights scanned the settlement. The villagers, noticing the approaching fleet, rushed to gather their families and belongings. Fear spread quickly through the small community. Kai's heart sank as he realized what this meant. Alien poachers had found their way to the settlement. These were not explorers or traders, they were hunters, looking for rare creatures to capture and sell. And now, they had seen the dragon hatchling. He grabbed a toolkit and ran toward the hatchling. The small dragon chirped, sensing danger. Kai knelt beside it. "Stay calm," he said. "I will protect you. Trust me." The hatchling pressed close to his chest, trembling slightly. The poachers landed their ships near the outskirts of the village, stepping out in armored suits and carrying high-tech nets and energy lassos. Their eyes gleamed as they spotted the hatchling. Kai knew that if they got even one shot, the creature could be captured or worse. Kai thought quickly. He had no weapons, but he had machines, tools, and creativity. Using parts from his workshop, he set up a series of traps. Small wires connected to automated scramblers, pressure-sensitive nets, and smoke devices could slow down or confuse intruders. It was a simple plan, but it relied on timing and precision. The first poacher approached the hatchling's enclosure, reaching out with a glowing lasso. Kai pressed a button on his improvised device. A net shot up from the ground, tangling the poacher's legs. He fell with a shout, and the others hesitated. Kai used the moment to move the hatchling behind a reinforced barrier, keeping it safe. The poachers quickly recovered, advancing in formation. Kai adjusted his traps, sending flashes of light and smoke in their direction. The smoke triggered sensors, making alarm sound and confusing the intruders. One poacher tried to jump over a small barricade, only to be caught in a spring-loaded net. Kai felt a surge of confidence. He had trained in mechanics, engineering, and problem-solving, but he had never faced a real threat like this. Now, he realized that human ingenuity could rival the strength and technology of the invaders. The poachers were powerful, but they were predictable. The hatchling, sensing Kai's courage, chirped and flapped its wings excitedly. Kai smiled. "Not yet," he whispered. "We have to be smart first." He led the hatchling through a series of hidden paths behind the workshop, carefully guiding it past traps he had set. The poachers stumbled over wires and mats, growling in frustration. Kai noticed that the poachers were beginning to argue among themselves, distracted by the confusing layout and clever devices. Kai had one final idea. He ran to the edge of the workshop, carrying a small container of oil and a magnetic coil. Placing the coil on the ground and pouring the oil carefully, he activated the device. A sudden burst of magnetic energy caused the poachers' energy weapons to short-circuit, and sparks flew from their equipment. The poachers shouted and retreated, realizing that they were outmatched by the humans' clever traps and quick thinking. Kai held the hatchling tightly as the last of the invaders left, retreating to their ships and disappearing into the sky. The village erupted in cheers, amazed at what Kai had accomplished. They had feared the poachers, but this human had protected the hatchling with courage, intelligence, and ingenuity. Kai set the hatchling down, letting it hop and flap happily. The creature chirped loudly, as if celebrating their victory together. The dragon mother arrived shortly afterward, landing gracefully near the village. She observed the scene, her eyes focused on Kai and the hatchling. She had seen the danger, the courage, and the cleverness of the human who had been entrusted with her young. Her gaze softened, and she lowered her head slightly in approval. Kai approached her cautiously, holding out his hands to show he meant no harm. The dragon mother sniffed the air around him, then turned her attention to the hatchling. She nudged it gently, a sign of recognition and thanks. Kai realized that this bond between human and dragon was not only built on trust but also on shared bravery in the face of danger. That evening, Kai returned to his workshop, exhausted but proud. The hatchling curled up beside him, tired but alert. Kai prepared a warm meal and settled near the creature, reflecting on the day's events. He realized that being a protector meant more than feeding and teaching. It meant thinking, reacting, and solving problems under pressure. The villagers visited quietly, bringing small gifts and supplies for the hatchling. They whispered their gratitude to Kai, amazed at how he had defended the creature and the settlement. Kai felt a sense of pride, but he remained humble. He knew that the poachers might return someday, and the hatchling would continue to grow stronger. He would need to stay vigilant, creative, and brave. Kai looked at the hatchling and smiled. "You were amazing today," he said. "We faced danger together, and we survived. Tomorrow, we will continue your training, but tonight, you rest. You earned it." The hatchling chirped softly, nuzzling Kai's chest. As night fell, Kai stood outside, watching the stars twinkle above the settlement. He thought about the poachers and the challenges ahead. Humanity had shown its strength, not through weapons or size, but through courage, intelligence, and determination. He realized that these qualities were what made humans special, capable of protecting life and earning the trust of even the wildest creatures. The dragon mother remained in the distance, a silent guardian. Kai understood that this trust was rare, and he felt honored. He had earned it through patience, bravery, and clever thinking. The hatchling slept peacefully, knowing it was safe, and Kai felt a sense of fulfillment unlike anything he had experienced before. He whispered to the night sky, "We are ready for anything, little one. Together, we can face the stars and protect what matters." The hatchling stirred slightly, and Kai smiled. He knew that the journey was far from over, but today, humanity had proven its worth. Kai returned to his workshop, feeling the bond between human and dragon grow stronger. He knew that the future held challenges, adventures, and lessons. But with courage, intelligence, and trust, he could face whatever the galaxy sent his way. And as he watched the hatchling sleep, he knew that together, they were unstoppable. The morning sun bathed the settlement in golden light. Kai stretched and glanced at the hatchling, which was already awake and flapping its tiny wings energetically. The previous day's dangers had only strengthened their bond. Kai smiled and approached the young dragon. "Good morning," he said softly. "Ready for today?" The hatchling chirped in response and hopped excitedly, its tail swishing back and forth. Kai had planned a new set of exercises. Flight was important, but so was coordination, agility, and understanding commands. He cleared a larger area behind the workshop and set up obstacles, low walls, soft platforms, and swinging ropes. The goal was to help the hatchling maneuver through the environment, building confidence and control. The hatchling looked at the obstacles warily, then back at Kai. He knelt down, speaking gently. "You can do this. I will guide you, step by step." The hatchling chirped, as if agreeing, and moved toward the first obstacle. Kai guided it with soft touches and careful words. The hatchling hesitated at the first wall but finally flapped its wings and climbed over it. Kai clapped softly, praising it. "Good job. See. You can do it." The hatchling chirped proudly and moved to the next challenge. Hours passed as Kai and the hatchling practiced. Each obstacle was more difficult than the last, but the hatchling learned quickly. It began to anticipate movements, jumping and flapping with more precision. Kai noticed that it also watched him closely, learning from his actions and signals. At one point, the hatchling misjudged a jump and nearly fell from a soft platform. Kai reacted instantly, catching it midair. The hatchling squeaked but stayed calm in his hands. Kai held it gently. "You are learning. Mistakes are part of it. We try again." The hatchling chirped softly, as if understanding. The dragon mother arrived later in the morning, landing nearby. Her presence caused the hatchling to become alert and excited. It chirped loudly and attempted to fly toward her, but Kai stepped forward, gently guiding it back. The mother observed, her eyes calm but watchful. She seemed to approve of Kai's teaching methods. Kai realized that the hatchling was learning more than physical skills. It was learning to trust humans, to respond to guidance, and to observe and analyze situations. The dragon mother had chosen him wisely. Patience, courage, and understanding were traits that no machine or weapon could replace. By midday, Kai decided to introduce a new challenge. He had built a small puzzle that required the hatchling to use its claws and snout to move objects and unlock a food container. The hatchling approached it cautiously, sniffing and tapping with its claws. Kai guided it with soft words, showing how to manipulate the puzzle. The hatchling struggled at first, hissing and chirping in frustration. Kai remained patient, encouraging it. "You can do it. Think carefully. Use your strength wisely." Slowly, the hatchling managed to move the final piece and open the container. It chirped excitedly and gobbled the food. Kai laughed softly. "Excellent. You are clever, just like your mother." In the afternoon, Kai and the hatchling practiced coordinated flights. He led it through arcs, dives, and short races across the training area. The hatchling followed his guidance, learning to respond to his signals. Its confidence grew, and Kai could see its muscles developing with each movement. Kai noticed a change in the hatchling's personality. It had started to show curiosity, playfulness, and even humor. It would nudge him with its snout, chirp unexpectedly, and mimic some of his gestures. Kai realized that this creature was not just wild, it was intelligent, social, and eager to learn. The villagers, watching from a distance, whispered in admiration. Humans had never demonstrated this level of interaction with dragons before. Kai's combination of clever thinking, patience, and courage was proving that humanity could build trust and bonds with even the most formidable creatures. Late in the afternoon, Kai decided to teach the hatchling a simple command. He held up a small flag and said, "Come here." The hatchling flapped its wings and chirped, moving toward him cautiously. Kai repeated the action several times, rewarding the creature with food and praise each time it obeyed. Slowly, the hatchling began to respond reliably. The dragon mother watched silently, then let out a soft, approving sound. The hatchling chirped back and flapped its wings happily. Kai realized that he had achieved something extraordinary. The hatchling was learning to respond to humans while still retaining its wild nature. The trust between them was becoming unbreakable. As evening approached, Kai prepared a small resting area for the hatchling. It had earned its rest after a full day of training and learning. The creature curled up near him, wings folded, eyes half closed, yet alert. Kai stroked its scales gently, speaking softly. "You did very well today. Tomorrow, we will try new challenges, and you will grow even stronger." The dragon mother landed nearby, lowering her massive head to nuzzle the hatchling. Kai watched quietly, understanding that his role was now more than a teacher. He was a guardian, a companion, and a partner in growth. The hatchling had learned to trust him, and he had proven that humans could care for, guide, and protect creatures far beyond their own kind. That night, Kai sat outside, looking at the stars. He reflected on the day's progress. Humanity had a power beyond technology or weapons. It had courage, intelligence, and the ability to form bonds across species. He had demonstrated that trust, patience, and creativity could overcome fear, danger, and wild instincts. Kai whispered to the hatchling, which rested beside him, "We are a team. You grow stronger every day, and I will be here to guide you. Together, we can face anything." The hatchling chirped softly, nudging his hand with its snout. Kai felt a deep sense of pride and purpose. Today, the hatchling had learned new skills, faced challenges, and grown in confidence. Tomorrow would bring more lessons, more flights, and more obstacles, but he knew they could handle it together. As the night grew darker, the settlement quieted. The villagers had returned to their homes, still speaking in hushed tones about the human who had earned the trust of a dragon. Kai felt the weight of responsibility, but it was a weight he welcomed. He had proven that humans could be brave, clever, and compassionate. He watched the hatchling sleep peacefully, its small chest rising and falling with steady breaths. Kai whispered one last time, "Rest well, little one. We have many adventures ahead, and I will be with you every step." The dragon mother remained on the ridge, her eyes glinting in the moonlight. Kai understood her message without words. Trust had been given, bonds had been formed, and the future was bright. Humanity had shown its strength in courage, intelligence, and heart. And in that trust, Kai and the hatchling had found the beginning of a friendship that could last a lifetime. The morning sun shone brightly over the settlement, casting golden light across the hills and rooftops. Kai stood near the edge of a high cliff, the wind tugging at his clothes. The hatchling perched nervously beside him, flapping its tiny wings and chirping in excitement and fear. "Today is the day," Kai said softly. "It's time for your first real flight, all on your own. I will be right here. You are ready?" The hatchling looked up at him, eyes wide, uncertain. It had learned so much in the past days: trust, flight, obedience, and coordination, but this would be different. This flight required courage and confidence. Kai led the hatchling to the cliff's edge. Below, the valley stretched out with forests, rivers, and hills, sparkling in the morning light. It was a vast space for a small dragon to explore. Kai knelt down beside the hatchling, holding its tiny body gently. "You are strong," he whispered. "You know how to fly. You can do this. Trust yourself." The hatchling chirped, flapping its wings nervously. Kai could feel the rapid beat of its heart. He stepped back slowly, keeping his hands ready to catch it if needed. "Remember, I am here," he said. "Nothing will harm you. You are ready for this test." The hatchling hesitated, peering over the edge. Its instincts screamed to stay on solid ground, but its training and trust in Kai urged it forward. Kai took a deep breath. "Now," he said softly. "Fly." The hatchling leaped. At first, it wobbled violently, its wings beating furiously. For a moment, it seemed like it might fall, but Kai rushed forward, supporting it with his hands. The hatchling chirped in alarm, struggling for balance. Kai whispered calming words, letting it feel the lift and guiding its movements. After a few seconds, the hatchling began to stabilize. Its wings moved more smoothly, and it started to glide forward, responding to the air currents. Kai held his hands close but no longer directly supporting it. The hatchling was flying under its own power. The villagers had gathered below, watching in awe. Humans had never seen anything like this, a tiny dragon, wild and feral, soaring above the cliffs with confidence, guided only by trust in a human. Kai's heart swelled with pride. He had taught, guided, and protected this creature, and now it was achieving something extraordinary. Kai encouraged the hatchling to turn and follow a small path marked by rocks and trees. The creature chirped and flapped, adjusting its flight. At first, it made sharp, awkward turns, but soon it moved with grace and control, dipping and rising like it had been born to fly. Suddenly, a gust of wind pushed the hatchling off balance. It squeaked, wings flailing. Kai acted instantly, moving closer and catching it midair with a gentle grip. The hatchling pressed against him, trembling but unharmed. Kai whispered reassuringly, "You are safe. I am here. Try again." The hatchling seemed to understand. It shook its head, flapped its wings, and leaped again. This time, it stayed steady, gliding forward confidently. Kai let out a soft cheer. "Yes. That's it. You are flying." The hatchling chirped proudly, looping in the air before returning to Kai's outstretched hands. It nuzzled him, as if saying thank you. Kai smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. The bond they had built through patience, trust, and training was stronger than ever. The dragon mother watched silently from the ridge above. Her eyes softened as she observed the hatchling, her young one learning to conquer the skies. She seemed to nod in approval, recognizing Kai's role not just as a teacher but as a protector and friend. Kai decided to challenge the hatchling further. He led it toward a series of small cliffs and ledges nearby, encouraging it to fly between them. The hatchling hesitated at first, looking down at the drops, but Kai stayed close. "You can do this," he whispered. "I am with you. Trust yourself." The hatchling leaped again, flying skillfully from ledge to ledge. Its confidence grew with each successful maneuver. Kai watched proudly as it learned to control its speed, angle, and altitude. The village below erupted in cheers, amazed at the small dragon's progress and Kai's guidance. As the day continued, Kai taught the hatchling to respond to simple commands during flight. He waved his hands, pointed in directions, and used soft vocal signals. The hatchling learned quickly, turning, rising, and descending on his signals. Each success strengthened their trust and coordination. By late afternoon, Kai decided the hatchling was ready for a solo glide across the valley. He led it to the highest cliff, looking down over the wide forest below. The hatchling hesitated, wings trembling, but Kai knelt and whispered, "You are ready. I believe in you. Fly freely." The hatchling leaped. For a moment, it wobbled, then caught the wind perfectly. It glided gracefully, adjusting its wings, and soared over the trees and hills. Kai watched, his heart swelling with pride. The hatchling had done it its first true independent flight. When it returned, landing safely at Kai's side, the hatchling chirped loudly and nuzzled him. Kai hugged it gently, feeling the strength of their bond. "You did amazing," he said. "You are ready for anything." The dragon mother landed nearby, lowering her massive head to touch the hatchling gently. Kai stepped back, giving them space. The mother gave a soft sound, almost like a purr, signaling approval and gratitude. Kai smiled, understanding that he had earned her trust completely. As night fell, Kai and the hatchling returned to the workshop. The creature was tired but happy, curling up near him. Kai reflected on the day's achievements. The hatchling had faced fear, learned to trust, and conquered its first test of independence. And he had been there every step of the way, proving humanity's courage, intelligence, and patience. Kai whispered softly, "Rest now. Tomorrow, we will continue to explore and learn. You are stronger than you know." The hatchling chirped softly, nestling closer to him. The dragon mother remained on the ridge, watching them as the stars appeared. Kai understood the message without words. Trust had been given, courage had been shown, and the bond between human and dragon was unbreakable. Kai leaned back, looking at the night sky. He knew the journey was far from over. Challenges would come, dangers would appear, and the hatchling would grow stronger every day. But with trust, patience, and courage, humanity could achieve the impossible. And he, a simple mechanic, had proven it today. Together, human and dragon had reached a new level of understanding. The hatchling had taken its first true flight, and Kai had guided it with wisdom and care. It was a moment of triumph, not just for them, but for all of humanity. Kai whispered one last time before sleep, "We can face anything, little one. Together, we are unstoppable." The hatchling chirped softly in agreement, and Kai felt a deep sense of hope for the future. The morning air was crisp and filled with the scent of pine and fresh grass. Kai awoke to the gentle chirps of the hatchling, now confident and lively after its successful solo flights. Today was a special day. He could feel it in the way the dragon mother circled above the workshop, her wings cutting the sky with elegance and purpose. Kai prepared breakfast for the hatchling, mixing soft proteins and warm gels. The hatchling eagerly ate, wings twitching in excitement. Kai smiled, watching the creature he had guided, protected, and trained over so many days. The bond between them had grown stronger with each challenge, each flight, and each lesson in trust. The dragon mother landed near the training area, massive wings folding gracefully. She let out a low, rumbling sound that vibrated through the ground. The hatchling chirped back, rushing forward to greet its mother. Kai watched closely, noticing a change in her demeanor. The dragon mother no longer seemed wary or tense. Her eyes, bright and intelligent, regarded Kai with a calm and approving expression. Kai stepped forward cautiously. "Good morning," he said softly. "You are here." The dragon mother sniffed the air around him, then lowered her head slightly. Kai understood the gesture. This was not just acceptance, it was respect. The dragon mother nudged the hatchling toward Kai. The young dragon hesitated, then turned and chirped at him. Kai held out his hands, letting the hatchling crawl into his arms. The mother observed silently, watching the interaction closely. Kai realized this moment was a reward, a recognition of all the care, courage, and patience he had shown. The dragon mother had trusted him with her young, and he had proven himself worthy. Humans, Kai understood, could earn trust not through power or weapons, but through wisdom, kindness, and courage. He spent the morning practicing coordinated flights with the hatchling and the mother nearby. The hatchling had grown strong and agile. Kai guided it over cliffs, across valleys, and through the tall trees of the forest. It responded to his signals instantly, weaving and diving with precision. The dragon mother observed, occasionally flying near to test the hatchling's skills, and each time, the young dragon performed flawlessly. Kai realized that the hatchling was learning more than just flight. It was learning strategy, focus, and awareness. And Kai was learning alongside it how to communicate without words, how to anticipate reactions, and how to adapt in real time. The villagers, watching from below, whispered in amazement. They had never seen such cooperation between a human and dragons. It was proof that humans were capable of extraordinary achievements. Kai's intelligence, bravery, and patience had turned fear into trust, danger into safety, and wildness into cooperation. By afternoon, Kai decided to test the hatchling in a more challenging environment. He led it to a series of narrow canyons and steep cliffs, signaling it to navigate through them. The hatchling flapped its wings, maneuvering through tight spaces with grace. Kai guided it with soft hand gestures and voice commands. Each success strengthened their bond and Kai's confidence in his abilities. The dragon mother finally joined in. She flew alongside the hatchling, nudging it gently and showing it how to adjust wings, turns, and speed. The hatchling responded, demonstrating agility and intelligence beyond its age. Kai watched with pride as both dragons moved in harmony, and he realized that he had been entrusted with more than a creature, he had been entrusted with a legacy. As the sun began to set, casting warm orange and pink light over the valley, the dragon mother landed beside Kai. She lowered her massive head, brushing it gently against his shoulder. Kai could feel the strength and warmth of her presence. She gave a low, approving rumble. It was the ultimate recognition, a dragon mother acknowledging the courage, patience, and wisdom of a human. Kai knelt, holding the hatchling close. "We have done well," he whispered. "You are safe, you are strong, and we are a team." The hatchling chirped happily, nudging his hand with its snout. Kai felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Every challenge, every flight, and every danger they had faced had led to this moment. The dragon mother rose, spreading her wings wide. She glanced at Kai one last time before taking off into the sky with the hatchling following. Kai watched as they soared together, powerful, free, and confident. It was a sight of pure harmony between human and dragon, a testament to trust, patience, and courage. Kai returned to the village, tired but elated. The villagers greeted him with admiration and gratitude. They had seen firsthand what a human could achieve through intelligence, courage, and care. Kai realized that the true victory was not just in the survival of the hatchling, but in proving humanity's potential to protect, nurture, and earn the trust of even the most extraordinary creatures. That night, Kai sat outside his workshop, looking at the stars. The hatchling rested nearby, small and warm, while the dragon mother circled in the distance. Kai felt a deep sense of peace. He had faced danger, learned new skills, and formed bonds that transcended species. Humanity's courage, intelligence, and heart had shone brightly, and he had played a part in that legacy. He whispered softly, "We are ready for anything, little one. The skies are ours, and together, we can face the universe." The hatchling chirped in response, tail swishing with contentment. Kai smiled, knowing that the journey was only beginning, but they were prepared for whatever lay ahead. The dragon mother landed nearby once more, her massive presence calm and reassuring. Kai stepped forward, holding out his hands gently. She lowered her head, brushing against him once again, a gesture of trust and gratitude. Kai realized that he had earned a bond few humans would ever experience. It was a bond built on courage, patience, intelligence, and unwavering care. Kai looked at the hatchling, now sleeping peacefully beside him. "You are strong, brave, and clever," he whispered. "And together, we will continue to grow, learn, and explore. Nothing can stop us when we trust each other. The night was quiet and full of stars. Kai felt a sense of hope and pride unlike any he had ever known. Humanity had proven its strength, not through force, but through trust, care, and courage. And he, a simple mechanic, had been at the center of it. For Kai, the future was bright. The hatchling would grow strong and free, the dragon mother would watch and guide from above, and he would continue to protect, teach, and learn. They were a team of human and dragons bound by trust, courage, and the extraordinary potential of humanity. Kai whispered one final time before closing his eyes, "We are ready for anything. Together, we are unstoppable." The hatchling chirped softly, snuggling close, and Kai knew that they had achieved something incredible. A bond had been forged, trust had been rewarded, and the universe was full of endless possibilities.